This video will contain spoilers. Devara Part 1. Universally negative rating I've seen in cinema. Obviously, I'm not going to recognize any of these people. It's better than The Goat, I'll say that. But there's still where, obviously it's CGI infested. And there's something I find weird about that, because there was a bit where devara pulls in a dead shark, and they actually specify in the corner of the screen that it's CGI. I'm assuming that there's a law or something about depicting animals, because I thought it was dead animals, but no, there was a live shark that the CGI'd in, and they still specified it was CGI. So either there's a law about depicting animals, or there's a law about having animals next to humans. Well, dangerous ones like sharks. I just find that so weird, because it's obviously fake. I get that the standards for CGI in India is not the same as it is over here, but, it is obvious that it is CG. Anyway, I'm not one of those people that says that, there's no reason for a film to be over 2 hours. Don't get me wrong, I prefer them to be shorter, but I don't like when people say that there is literally no film that is justifiably 3 hours long. But this one, it's I'm sort of stuck in the middle, because there were quite a few scenes that, if you took those out, it would easily be cut by an hour, and there would be no difference to the plot, because most of it was at the start of the second part, because there was an intermission in this. There were some women who were talking about how they want this guy or this guy, and it lasted a lot longer than it should have. Don't get me wrong, I like those scenes, they were quite funny. It's just, this is an action film, not a rom-com. As for the action itself, there were some really brutal moments, even though you can tell that they're it's some of the most staged, I'll say, fights ever. You can tell that they're on wires and shit. There are people that are jumping a lot farther than humanly possible, and it's not like this is a sci-fi film or fantasy or anything. This is supposed to be grounded in reality, but despite that, I did quite like it, especially in the moments where the 4 villages where they fight, and there are times where people would be sort of have their head bashed into these sort of fire totems. I don't know what you would call them, and those bits were believable, but it's just everything else in the action wasn't. Especially the scene where devara, he fights 40 guys with a knife, and the knife isn't even right. The way they do it in Hollywood, I'm pretty sure, is that the knife sort of retracts. If you take the spring out of a pen, if you go to write, the pen will retract into the body. And that's what they do with knives in Hollywood. But not for this. The knives don't even make contact with the guys, and they could have filmed it so that it looked like it did, but they just didn't. Very few times did you actually. Most of it, there's an inch between them, and it's so obvious. I think that's everything I have to say. There's so many bad things I have to say about it, but it's mostly just because I'm a Westerner. I'm not used to it being like that, But despite all that, I actually quite enjoyed it. Like, I nearly cried at the end, I'll be honest, when they revealed that Vara killed Devara. Also, that's another thing. I don't like the fact that he named his son Vara when his name is Devara. I get that over here you have like people who name their children after themselves. Like you'll have, say, Alan Shore and Alan Shore Jr. Um, but it's just weird.